Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you joined today. I'm Kelley Pitts, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator since 2005, which means I have been fortunate enough to be teaching classes and learning myself how to do new techniques and new fun projects and cards and 3D exercises, everything with our lovely assortment of Stampin' Up! Products. And today we're going to feature the Marbledelegance Suite of products that includes the Hearts of Elegance Bundle and the Marbledelegance DSP and a few other little goodies. So I'm excited that you've tuned in and hope you'll share with your crafty friends. This is the second of 4 cards that I did in a collection for a class that I recently did. And some of you bought to-go classes, and I'll have those kits and the PDF tutorial and everything for you, hopefully tomorrow or Monday. One or the other, I'll have them ready. So if you are interested in making these cards, I would love for you to join me. If you need any of the supplies, you can go to createwithkelley.com and shop there to your heart's content. All right, let me see. Please let me know when you come in, whether or not you're watching live or watching the replay. I appreciate you being here on YouTube. Hopefully I'll be able to transfer it to my Facebook page too, but haven't figured that out. I used to be able to stream to both Facebook and YouTube, and now it won't let me. So we'll see if we can get that figured out after we get the videos done. But right now it's all on YouTube. So thanks again for tuning in. Please give me a comment. Let me know you're watching. And we'll get the camera switched over and get going. Fun times ahead. All right, I'm going to just show you the card. This is the Hearts of Elegance Bundle that I mentioned, and it comes with the stamps, of course, that you see on the front. So lots of greetings and then some cute little images that work for Valentine's Day, but they would also work for wedding and maybe anniversary. A lot of different opportunities to use those. I have several other stamp sets that I recommend for this. You could use the anniversary from the everyday greetings, and then the happy is in the other set, the season greetings of the season set that partners well with this. So you could use the happy from that and the anniversary from this. Also, of course, anything with love works with the Valentine hearts. So this Unbounded Love set is also a good choice with the you are loved and just the love just for you. My heart goes out to you. Any of those would work great for this. We also have You're in My Heart and Prayers, and we have Knowing You Brings Joy to My Heart. I think that would be great on a lot of these cards, or Just Love Spending Time with You. So there's a lot of flexibility using the dies and stamps from the Hearts of Elegance set. So we're going to get started with this one. This card, like I said, is number 2 of the 4 that we're doing videos on today to show you how to make. And I will be doing a PDF with all the measurements. Oh, I don't know what all I included on this. Just thinking of, I quickly posted my little notes under this video, so not sure what all I put on there, but I will be having a little PDF project sheet that has the measurements and everything. So just holler back if you're interested. Okay, for this one, we're going to cut out, we're going to use the largest heart in the Marbledelegance or Hearts of Elegance bundle. That is right here. And we're using these 2 hearts. And I'm going to show you, I'll show you how we're going to cut that one out with a little wax paper after I do this one. And this one is called partial die cutting, where let me get myself some room here. Partial die cutting technique. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Oops, I hit my camera. Easy to do there. Sorry, hope that didn't make you dizzy, peeps. All right. we're going to take the entire card, and usually we just do one layer at a time of cardstock, but most of our dies will cut through 2 layers. And what we'll do, let me see if I can get this centered. I know this is really up close here.
That looks good.
We're barely going to have any, I don't know if y'all can see on camera, but I can see just like a little hairline of space between the top of the die and the top of the cardstock. So I'm trying to make that even on both of those, where it's kind of the top of the bump is even. And that is where everywhere the die does not touch the paper is not going to cut. So that means that's where the fold will be. And we're trying to center that left and right and center the bumps evenly. And I just need a little tape. Here's a little bit right here. Thank you, ma'am. And thank you to Jan, who's serving as a wonderful assistant today. I'd love to have her all the time. If only I made $1 jillion where I could pay her to come all the time. But today she is volunteering and learning all about doing videos. So we're having fun. And hopefully you'll see her on one of the 2 or both of the videos coming up. Okay, I'll show you how that comes out. As you can see, let me tell you, in case you missed that last video, on when you're doing any kind of a tape, you should really probably stick it to your pants or hand or something first, because the pressure of the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine really makes it kind of sticky. So you want to peel it back onto itself and not pull it straight up so it doesn't tear your paper. And I usually reuse my tape several times so that you lose some of that sticky and you don't have to worry about that. But that was a brand new piece and this was a used one, so you can tell the difference. Okay, now look at the magic. Woohoo! We have a heart that has the center cut out, but it's connected, but it still looks like a heart shape. Isn't that awesome? Then you could take this piece of paper. This was your typical 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4 piece of paper. And then you could cut out a couple more hearts on here if you wanted to. We're not going to at this moment, but we will. All right, while I've got the die cutting machine out, the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, I'm going to show you how to cut this really, especially on white cardstock. These really grab, and usually you can use the ejection holes here to get paper out, but I could not get regular cardstock out of here with those without poking holes in my cardstock. So you really with this die need to use wax paper. So I'm going to move this up and show you how we're going to do that. We've got a 4x4 Marbledelegance paper. And I'm going to look at, well, you can kind of adjust where you're going to put that greeting, so it doesn't matter. This piece of paper, some of them have a piece of DSP, some of them have more cherry cobbler, some have melon mambo, some have real red, some have kind of a mix. This one has both cherry cobbler and real red. So I wanted to show you the variety. So a couple of the cards have a base of real red, and this one has a base of cherry cobbler. Sorry that is a little blurry, but it'll be over in a minute. So your wax paper is between the die and the DSP. All right, got that. We'll get that out of the way. Be good to go. And I think that's all the die cutting we're doing. You can also save this. This will do one of the little hearts also from this set. So we'll maybe get to that on another card. Not today. Okay. we've got our wax paper that just peels right off. And then you have that lovely perforated stitched look on the sides of the heart. Isn't that gorgeous? Yay! So that's what we'll be using on the front of this card. And then I've already done the wax paper trick and cut out the cardstock for the inside using that same die. And we're going to do some embossing, gold embossing, because this card, the paper is just so elegant. It really lends itself well to the gold embossing powder. I just think that is beautiful there. And then we've got the gold thread on the outside. We're going to gold emboss that today. So hopefully I can make this work. It's been a while since I've done all this, but since I have my trusty assistant here today, it's going to be much easier, I think, to figure all this out. We're going to start with stamping the, let me find my Stampin' Pierce mat to stamp on. Yay! Now we have a clean one. The other one was dreadful. Jan chastised me over my ugly one that I had before because we were in a rush. So she graciously fixed this for me. So it's really pretty for y'all to see. All right. We are going to stamp our Happy Valentine's Day. And we'll stamp it in Versamark. Let me move all this over. See if I can get this where y'all can kind of see what all I'm working on. And try not to get this on my keyboard or my mouse trackpad, anything. Okay, we're going to do our Versamark. First, we'll use our embossing buddy to get rid of all of the oils from your hands, anything that could possibly make it stick where you don't want it. Okay. So we've got our Versamark pad that is a clear embossing ink. It will make a watermark, which is just, you can do tone on tone stamping with it, where you can stamp onto the cardstock and it will just make kind of a darker tone of the same color. But it also works great with embossing, where you could use the clear Versamark, use some pressure, even pressure, make sure it stays down, gets everywhere on the paper, pull it up, and then we're going to do the gold embossing powder. I keep mine in a little container with the little spoon, so it's handy. I don't have to put it back into my box every time. And this is the older gold that we used to have. I haven't tried the new Wow powder yet, so I'm anxious to try that, but I'd like to use this up first. So just make sure everything's coated. You can do it a couple times. You can do it 3 times. If you see something somewhere that didn't stick quite well, you can just do it again. Then we want to thump off the excess. And I think we're good on that. I'll get that totally out of the way. I think we can take, well, yeah. I'll set this to the side and we're going to go ahead and emboss this with our heat emboss tool. And sorry about that. I'll just take that back for the leaves. And you want to let your tool run just a little bit before you use it. Make sure you get it warmed up first. And we have the little tweezers up there, the reverse tweezers. That'll work, either one. Thank you. Jan is awesome to have around. She is a wonderful organizer and she's a great helper. So I'm blessed to have her today. Hopefully you can, I've got this where you can see it. Is that close enough? Hard to watch the camera and can you see it go from dull to shiny? And then you want to quit. Because you can overdo it and it will go back to being dull. See if I can get that work. Yeah, there the light caught it a little bit. Can you see that? How pretty is that? Yay. Okay. We're going to go ahead and stamp our leaves. Then I'll come back and stamp the, well, I can go ahead and stamp it. I'll stamp it really quickly. We're going to use cherry cobbler to stamp our little flower or rose or whatever that is there in cherry cobbler. And you want to stamp on your Stampin' Pierce mat to make sure you get a good impression. Really get that solid, use some pressure, let it sit there a minute. The paper needs to absorb the ink, so just let it sit there and don't wobble back and forth with your block. Okay, so we've got that one done. Now we're going to go ahead and stamp another one for the inside that we're going to die cut out. Now we're ready. We're going to set that aside and we're going to get our Versamark again. And we're going to make the leaves. I'm going to, I've got Versamark once again to show you the gold leaves. There are 2 sets of leaves in the set, and I try to leave plenty of room between them. One stamp has 3 leaves and one stamp has a single leaf, or leaf, a branch of leaves, or whatever you want to call that, leaf cluster. Can have lots of names, I think. All right, we're going to put our gold on here, and I didn't use embossing powder, but I mean embossing buddy, I don't think on this, but we'll be okay since we're die cutting out all the way around it. All right. And in the little embossing kit that you can get now, you get the embossing buddy and a little tray that's much smaller than this one and handier, and it has a brush in it also. It's not this brush, but it is a similar one, and that is available in our annual catalog, or you can shop online at mycreatewithkelley.com and just type in embossing kit, and I believe you'll find what you need there. Okay, now we've got our little strays taken care of. And we're going to emboss that. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on again. Hopefully it will dim a little for the video. I mean, the sound will kind of reduce. I'll try that. It's just like magic every time you do it. Yay! I believe we've got it all. It just feels like magic when you do that. Every time. I've been doing it for 20 years and it still seems magical. Let me get that where, there. Isn't that gold gorgeous? Pretty, pretty, pretty. Okay. We're going to die cut those. Once again, I know this is too close on the camera, but it's just kind of what we have to do right now. All right, we're going to tape these on. Let's see which way this goes. Not that one. I believe that's it. I'm trying not to get my hand right in the way. But okay, I'm going to do this to the side here. There's one big one. There we go. I think that's it. You kind of have to figure out which way it goes. It's been a while since I've die cut this. So you get the die lined up right on the edge. Hopefully I'm close because the camera is kind of right there. Kind of hard to see. And leave plenty of space in between these whenever you do your stamping. Don't try to scrimp and save paper, because you do want space in between them, because the dies can jump. I mean, unless you really have them taped really, really, really good, sometimes they can jump and go on top of each other and it will ruin your die. Ask me how I know. Yes, it has happened to me multiple times. So that's why I've started using tape a little more often. Usually I think I can wing it, but when you've got something like this where you're going to match it up, I highly recommend using a little post-it tape or washi tape or whatever works for you. All right. We're going to take that tape off carefully. And really, I would recommend in the class, I warned everybody to leave these, let this dry a little longer. So if you're doing it at home, I definitely would kind of set that aside after embossing and then die cut it out just in case. You know, you don't want to just flatten that. If there's one little part that's not quite dry or something, you don't want to ruin it. So we've got that done. And this all fit on a, let's see, it was probably an inch, and trying to see what size scrap so you'll kind of know. Probably 4 1/4 by 2 is plenty. Plenty good. Okay. And I have already also die cut the label that comes from the Unbounded Love dies. This was Unbounded Beauty set, I believe, the suite that's in the catalog. So it is a little bit larger. It has one die that'll fit inside that. So it's this label. I just really like the size of that label. So that's where those dies come from. That is, I didn't tell you, the number is 163383 if you're interested in those. I've used those on quite a few cards. All right, now I have smeared something on there. Lovely. Okay. Now we're going to be ready for assembly already. Yay. Okay, we've got our cherry cobbler card base, and we're going to attach our DSP, and it can just be flat. I think that works just as well. Since we're going to pop everything else up, I decided to just do this flat, and I would do it on the inside, just kind of leave off all of that area where you've got the perforations, because that glue can come through those and you don't want that happening. So we're just going to center that so it has an even border all the way around. Lovely. Isn't that paper pretty? Okay. Now I'll show you how I usually do on the dies. Whoops, we need to stamp this one first. We're going to stamp. This one you can kind of use this either way. This has that embossed that looks like it's up, and then this one is indented. I like this side better, where it's more indented around. Okay. So we're going to stamp that with cherry cobbler. And out of this set, you've got 2 different stamps that will work on this label. You've got the My Heart Belongs to You, which fits. And then you've also got the Sending Lots of Love, which Jan voted to use this one today. So that's what we're using. When you're a volunteer helper, you get to make a lot of choices. Okay, Sending Lots of Love. So that could be to a friend, it could be to a parent, it could be to a child, it could be your spouse, whoever you want to send it to. We're lucky to have a lot of people to love, aren't we? My stamp pad's stuck. I'm going to let Jan figure that out for us. Okay, I'm going to let that dry since that's one of those deep colors. And I'm probably going to have to stamp. Well, we may just have to use a little blending brush or something. I'm going to grab that real quick. I'll be right back. Go up. Here. Okay. Thanks. I think this is going to kind of work. We're going to do a little bit. I'm just barely going to see what's on here. Whoop! Don't really like that. It's too pinky, but we're stuck now. I'll take a little bit more of that cherry cobbler, just a tiny bit, and a piece of scratch paper.
Looks like you have an opportunity.
I do. This Jan reminded me that this is just not a mistake. It's an opportunity. And I don't want to use mess up my pad there. That didn't really help. We're just going to give it a little bit of color and hopefully hide those little marks of where I guess the ink came off on my fingers and I didn't realize it. So we'll just have a little bit of a mix in there. And hopefully that'll be okay. That kind of hides that. I don't think you see it as much. Pretty. Okay, and anytime you use a blending brush like that and you're going over your embossed area, you might want to take a little bit of your wet wipe or something to kind of get the ink that's on top of that gold emboss or silver emboss, whatever you've used. If you take a little wet wipe, you can do that. Of course, I smeared my ink a little bit too. I wasn't really careful. But there we have it. Yay. So we've got our inside done.
When I do that little heart,
We're going to put the little, we'll put a little heart on the inside. I'm running out of mediums, so I'm going to use a small.
You've got a new viewer.
Right there. Oh, hi, Karen Shin. Thank you. I'm glad you like this card. We've got several others I'll show you at the end. We'll show you the one that we just did on a previous video and the two that are upcoming. So stay tuned till the end of this and you'll get to see that. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you'll share it with your crafty friends. Okay, we've got our card base that we did not texture. You could, if you like the swirled texture, you can do that. It doesn't show a whole ton right there. On the other cards, see that we did, we used the So Swirly folder, but it really looks pretty up here. So I did this one this way so you can kind of see the difference. Or because I forgot, you can guess which one. But it works either way. If you want to do the So Swirly folder, this whole thing will fit in there. It is, I don't have it handy, but it's easy to do. Since those larger, some of those embossing folders, that Stampin' Up is making now are huge compared to our regular ones. So the whole thing does fit in there just easily. And there's our little Valentine's Day inside, and we're going to finish up our outside and move along. Okay, we're going to, this is the way I add my thread, this gold thread that is just beautiful. I usually put a little Stampin' Seal on the back. And then I just start making my little loop-de-loops and sticking them in the Stampin' Seal. And let's see if we want more. And I can change this. You can pull it out and redo it if it's not exactly what you want. Because you can't really tell. Let's see, we don't want it on the lot side. We want it on the love side. And I try to do an odd number of loops. You wouldn't have to, but kind of stick to 3-ish. And I've got them here where they're not extending off the card because you're going to put this whole thing in an envelope. So you probably really don't want it hanging out here a whole ton. So we'll just come a little bit more that way. See how you can adjust it even once you've got it on there? That looks great. And then we're going to pop this up. If you want to make sure this doesn't stick flat, that it's not competing, you know, not fighting with those dimensionals and trying to stick flat, you can use your embossing buddy on there. But yeah, it'd probably be a good idea. In fact, I may need to do that because I've probably come outside over here and I don't want that sticky stuff hitting my envelope. So I'm going to use my embossing buddy one more time over there. And then I'll put, thank you. Okay, so this takes the sticky off of the Stampin' Seal that the thread is not attached to. Then I'll wipe that off. Okay, now move that a little. Let's see if we can get that back the way we want it. And I'll stick that with the dimensional. And you want to make sure that when you attach it to your card, that your dimensional is not showing over here on the back. I'd really like it if this was not showing either, so I shouldn't have gone quite that far over, but this is going to work great. Let's see. I'm going to take a glue dot over there and get that right where I want it. Make sure those are held down. There we go. I like it. Y'all like it? Okay. You want to audition your pieces, kind of lay these up here and see how you think this is going to work best. So if we have some leaves here and a leaf up here, and again, on that, like the last video I was talking about, I wouldn't want to do a leaf that's taking your eye out of the card. I want to curve my leaf where you stay within the interior of the card so that you stay on it longer and it makes it worth all that effort that you've put in to making the card, because you want somebody to linger on it and enjoy the design longer. So hopefully that makes sense to you.
You have a new viewer.
Oh, I have somebody new, Linda Dickinson. Hello to you too, from Modesto, California. Y'all have had some rough times in California lately. I hope y'all's forest fires are getting under control. Okay, let me see here what we're doing. We're going to use the mini dimensionals. That's not it. Well, we don't have any mini dimensionals. I thought I did. We're just going to cut one of these in half or use one of our edges. I know some people don't use edges, but I do. So we're just going to put that little edge right there, stick that on the back of that. Then we're going to put a dimensional on the back of this one. I'm just going to kind of put it in the center so I have some flexibility of how those are going to work. Then we'll put one in the middle here, same thing. One should hold that, no problem. If you put too many, then you aren't going to be able to overlay it on top of this properly. Let's see how this one's going to go. Kind of, it could go like that. That'll be a little bit different from my previous layout. That'll work. That'll work. And add this here. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thanks for the compliment, Linda. Appreciate it. I'm glad you like the card. Nope, I don't like that up there. And if you put something down that you're not quite sure about and you don't, when you're laying it out like this, you just barely push on your dimensional instead of sticking it all the way, and then you want to move it and it's stuck too much. But if you take it up, if you'll kind of twist it as it's coming up, it works a lot better for you to be able to change that instead of pulling it straight up. It's kind of like my tip on the the Post-it tape, same way. How do we want these? Or do we want this coming over here? I thought I liked it up there, but it's kind of too far split from this other one. What do y'all think? Does that work?
Right there. Yep.
All right. Thanks for your help. So we've got that lovely gold thread. We've got the gold embossing. If you didn't want to do embossing or you don't have a heat embossing tool and embossing powder yet, you can certainly try the wild wheat that I used on the previous card. I'll show you in a minute. Then we're going to add a couple more hearts and we'll be good to go. See how different it is? This is the same sheet of paper, but it's just so different in each area of that marbled paper. It's just lovely. So each card's going to be different. Let's see if we want a big one here. Do we want a little one there? Let's put a big one in here. And we'll put a little one over here. And maybe we'll put another big one since we don't have it. Otherwise I'd use a medium, but I think we're kind of running out of those. And I've got some kits to still finish putting together. So I'm kind of angling these again where your eye goes around that focal point. All right, there's the inside, outside. And I appreciate you tuning in. Y'all let me know if you have any questions before we finish up on this. I want to say hi again. Thank you for tuning in. And if you want to see the card that I did previously, the one we just did in the previous video is right here. This sending lots of love. And then see if we can get some of these in here. I've got another video coming up with this one. Yay! Y'all stay tuned. You get to watch this overlapping heart one. And then I think that's all I have handy. We've got another one coming up. So y'all stay tuned. I'm going to get it scheduled and I appreciate you coming. Fun times ahead. Thanks so much. Linda, you're sorry about what? I don't know. I just see sorry. So I hope I didn't do something wrong. But thank y'all so much for tuning in. Hope you come back again in a few minutes. Thanks. Y'all have a great afternoon. If I don't see you, you can watch it on the replay. Bye.